What's up, Go community? This week, Zach, CB, and myself have asked the community for matchups of two video games, and we're going to debate which one is superior. In news, The Last of Us Part 2 has made some sales numbers this week that are of note. Marvel's Avengers War Room had their presentation. We got to see some gameplay, and Pokemon Unite was announced for the Nintendo Switch and mobile. New games discussed include Keen, One Girl Army, Star Wars Episode 1 Racer, the port of that game, and lastly, a mobile game called The Innsmouth Case. Also, I sat down with developer Julian Laufer, who made a game called Outbuddies DX. You've heard me talk about that game quite a bit. Now, if you excuse me, I have to choose between Zach and CB. This is the Gaming Outsider. Greetings, programs, and welcome to episode 301 of The Gaming Outsider, a video game podcast with a focus on our incredible community. It's Monday, June 29th. I'm your host, Scott Clark, and I'm joined, as always, by my fellow co-host, Zach Parkerson.
301 is a big number.
It is a big number. Not as big as 400, but we're getting there. And Chris Behrensmeyer.
What up, man? How's it going?
I'm doing all right, man. How's your week been, everybody? Do anything fun and interesting? Yes? No?
I mean, what, we've been just coasting along ever since The Last of Us Part 2 concluded.
Yes. We were talking about that before we started recording, how it's kind of a bummer that, we haven't been playing that this week. We all finished it rather quickly, and not because we felt like we needed to, we just could not put the game down. I haven't felt that way in a long time. I just wanted to keep playing and see what happens. So, but we got some other good games we're going to talk about. I did some interesting things this week. We had community game night on Saturday. That was a success. Sat down and played some Minecraft Dungeons with Matt and Mo, CJ, Josh, Don, and Joel. Some of them were in and out here and there. That game is infinitely more fun with people.
Like, is a golf club a weapon?
Golf club?
Yeah, because Joel was playing.
Oh.
Never mind.
Wow.
Never mind.
Anyway, no, just like Diablo or Borderlands or anything like that, that game is just way more fun with people. And have you played it yet, Zach? Minecraft Dungeons?
These loot games, they don't do it for me, man.
I mean, I get it, but it's really fun. It starts out so easy. You're like, this game is just incredibly easy, and it gets legit difficult, especially when you have multiple people, because it ramps up the difficulty. You get more enchanted enemies at the same time, but the game is actually pretty short. You can go through a run in like 4 hours or something. So it's kind of like Diablo 3 in that, it's designed to keep going through and replaying and getting more loot and, the loot grind.
It seems great for kids.
It is, but it's still a really solid game. I mean, we were all having fun with it.
I'm not putting you down. George Lucas said Star Wars is for kids, okay? Like, I'm not putting you down. It just seems like if you were a kid, you want to not be the cool cat. You don't want to be the lame people who are playing Fortnite.
Mm-hmm.
You could be you're like, Minecraft's also too big. Like, I play Minecraft Dungeons, actually.
No, some of the guys in there, I think Matt especially was saying how he really liked to play Minecraft. Like it legit, like it's like a big Lego set for him, and I've never been able to get into it, but anyway, I also met with another listener this week, Jordan Derringer High, who lives in the area. I met him over at this place in Rockford. There's this place that, this business has not paid me to say this, but Tilt is in Rockford, which is a giant Dave and Buster's, like 2 stories in the Cherryvale Mall. Zach, it's awesome. This place is massive. It's got bumper cars. It's got indoor mini golf. It's got bowling alleys. What else do they have? They have a whole VR station where you can play 4 people VR.
Cherryville Mall takes me back.
Yeah. And
is Kobe Japanese still in there?
Yeah.
Kobe Japanese.
Oh, yeah, that's in there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Just want a little deep cut for the old Rockford people listening. I love Kobe Japanese.
It is good food. But anyway, the big reason I wanted to go is they have 12 or so actual stand-up pinball machines that are quite cheap to play when you compare it to the other games. And I played a lot of pinball this weekend, and it was really cool. I cannot wait until all this madness is over and we can actually do a meetup at this place, because it is awesome. I mean, they've got, birthday party rooms and stuff, so we could actually meet up and do a live recording and go out and play games with everybody. And
we could have a Scott Clark birthday party there.
Oh my God, we could. Don't tease me. Don't tease me.
I'll hire the clown.
It'll be pretty cool. So, anyway, Zach, I wish I think you would really appreciate it, because there's just games everywhere. Granted, I don't know, arcades are a little bit different than they were back in the 80s and 90s. The cabinets are massive. I mean, there's a lot of ones where like you sit inside it with a gun, and there's a curtain that you pull and all that kind of stuff. And the entire second story is mostly like ticket games, which CB would be in heaven.
Yeah,
you love those ticket games, but
I skee ball and stuff like that.
No, if I saw skee ball,
it's like hopefully there's at least a few crane games and skill-based games that I could empty out.
The ones where you gotta like poke a shape through another shape like this or whatever. I can't even describe it. They do have. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, any big exciting arcade games? You got like a Star Wars trilogy or a Tomb Raider cabinet there?
I did not see those. I've seen those at Dave & Buster's. Those. What are those pod Star Wars?
Star Wars Battle Pod.
Battle Pods are pretty fun, but they did not have one of those. Nothing really big. I mean, there was like a Transformers game. That's a licensed one. There's like a Luigi's Mansion game.
They have the Silent Hill one?
Silent Hill? No, I've not seen that one.
I'm shocked. Silent Hill rail shooter?
Yes.
Yeah, there's a Silent Hill rail shooter.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I'm so mad at Konami.
I mean,
let's do everything with Silent Hill except make horror games.
I think it could get you a pretty badass pachinko machine if you want.
I'm sure. Remember they put out a Diablo-style Silent Hill game for Vita?
Mm-hmm.
What was that? What are they doing?
Yeah. Silent Hill series was so good. Why don't you keep doing that? But anyway, it was... they do have... you remember like how at carnivals... This is so weird and random. I didn't know these things still existed. But where it's like a panorama, and you pick up a gun and you shoot these tiny little targets. It like has an Old West theme, and if you hit the target, then the character does something goofy. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like back in the day, I think you'd shoot like BBs at it or something. They've got one of those set up inside. I assume it's got to be some kind of laser sighting instead of actual projectiles.
Man, the last time I played one of those was at Cabela's.
Yeah, that's what I mean, it feels like a very old style of arcade game. I mean, it's not really even a game, or there's no score. You just see if you can hit the targets and make something funny happen in the environment. I feel like it had a Wild West theme. I don't know. I thought it was kind of strange, but yeah, pinball. There is a new Guardians of the Galaxy table that is really awesome. I like that one a lot. They had the old Addams Family table, which is one of my favorites.
A classic. Even I know that's a classic.
Yeah, that's a really good table. They have the newer Star Wars one. It's got like the digital display, and like you can shoot it up into the Death Star, and I really like it. The only problem, and this is a nitpicking thing with me being a pinball nerd like I am, is the fluorescent lights do not do well on pinball tables. If you're on like the one table I was playing on, the light was shining right where the flipper is, and it's impossible to see. So
that's a pretty big problem for a pinball operation.
Yeah. I don't know how to fix that, because it's this distinctive glare on the glass, and it's kind of a problem.
I think that's one of the reasons why like the old arcades were so nice, was because they were always like dimly lit.
Right. I mean, and the arcade tables look so much cooler when it's dimly lit, because the appeal is all those blinking lights just going crazy everywhere, and the silver ball just like reflecting all that light. I don't know. That's why pinball tables work really well at bars, I think, too, because it's usually darker in there. I don't know how you fix that, though, because it's like right in the middle of the floor. You can't like dimly lit that one section.
You'd have to put anti-glare static over it.
Something like that. I don't know. Anyway, busy week. Let's go ahead and jump into the week's news. All right, this week, The Last of Us Part 2 is officially the fastest-selling PS4 exclusive of all time. Did very well numbers-wise. Crystal Dynamics had their War Room presentation for Marvel's Avengers, and Nintendo announced Pokemon Unite for Switch and mobile. Who wants to start?
Well, I know Zach's been chomping at the bit to talk to me about the Avengers game.
I have questions because I watched the video and I have no idea who half these characters are.
Lead the charge, Scott. Let's see if we can help you out.
So this villain,
from my understanding, you don't read the comics, right?
Yes, I do not read the comics. I've never read. The only comic I've ever read was a Dark Horse comic based on Shadows of the Empire. I think that's literally the only comic I've ever read. Although I have read the entire Why the Last Man graphic novel series. Does that count?
Well, it was released monthly as a comic book, so yes.
Yeah, I've read that entire thing. I really like that a lot. But as far as like Marvel and DC,
what an interesting two things to have read.
Yeah,
yeah.
That's it. That's all I've read.
Okay, well, ask away.
So they show that the main bad guy or villain in this is a character by the name of MODOK, which I cannot for the life of me remember what the acronym is. It's something kill at the end.
Yeah, it's a... Oh, man, what is it?
Mental mobile mechanized organism designed only for killing.
Yes, only for killing. Designed only for killing. Yes.
Right. So tell me about this villain because I've never heard of him.
Stupid.
Yes, he's stupid. He's got to be one of my... He's probably my least favorite comic book villain.
Does it look like they've made him cool in this, though, at least? Or does he look stupid?
You cannot make him cool.
I think Zach and I talked about this off air last week, that it's one of those few characters that no matter how hard you try, you cannot take this character seriously.
What's his backstory? What's his deal?
He gets like super... They craft him and he's super smart and his head gets really big and so his body can't move. So like on the comic page, you just see a giant square head, very square head. And he's just kind of sitting in a wheel, like a floating anti-gravity chair all the time.
Okay.
The Lego games always go out of their way to make fun of MODOK. In the comic books, he's usually a joke character. Whenever they do try to write him seriously, you just laugh because he's a giant square head in a chair.
It sounds like a cross between Megamind and Krang from the Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, pretty much.
I can see the Krang connection. He's awful. I really don't think he's the main villain because he just does not carry that weight. And I see what they're trying to do, right? Because he's in the limo with Miss Marvel in the trailer, and he's just kind of got like a big head. So I'm going to guess his head just gets bigger over the course of the game or something. But I
thought that was the leader.
I guess it could have been, but I want to get like the leader, maybe. But do you have two Hulk villains though? Because Abomination's in the trailer as well.
Yeah, I saw that.
You guys are so speaking Greek to me right now. All these villains, I have no idea. What about this Kamala character? Is that a new character, or is that from the comics as well?
Who's this Kamala character? He says. First of all, I just want to say I think MODOK is like a Mr. Sinister situation where they tell you he's a big bad, but then a third way through the game, you're like, oh, he's not at all. Because MODOK cannot sustain an Avengers storyline.
Okay.
Red Skull could. That's fine. Fingers crossed.
Still hoping for Galactus, man.
Yeah, we should take bets. Kamala is a Muslim character. She was a big fangirl of Captain Marvel, but then she gets hit with the Terrigen Mist. I don't have to explain that to you, Scott. You know what that is.
Oh, yeah.
And
sure.
She she gets big old stretching powers. She calls them the Embiggen powers. And she's basically like a teenager.
Is that really the name?
She'll punch you with a giant fist and say, Embiggen! But she's like a very like good-spirited character. She makes out with Miles a lot in the comics. But yeah, she's your point of view character. They make it sound like she's the main character. She's getting her own TV show set in the MCU as well.
So she's the main character, but from what I saw in the trailer or in this presentation, you're still playing the single-player campaign as individual characters. Like the one we saw was a Thor mission, right? Right.
Well, the structure of the game, and you really have to be paying attention and piece this together because their marketing rollout is a freaking joke.
Mm-hmm.
But the campaign is Kamala's story of reassembling the Avengers. But every now and again, you get a hero mission, in quotes, which is like where you will now see something that happened, but from the event of from Thor's eyes.
Ah, okay. That's interesting. Like different perspective.
Yeah, because
it's a weird choice. I don't know, but whatever.
From what I was watching from the trailer they released, so this is in the future. Something happened with the Avengers in the past, and that's why they're doing that.
So they've disbanded, is what I'm understanding from what Zach said?
Yeah, from what it looks like.
Okay.
Well, if you remember the E3 footage we saw, Scott, there was a bomb that went off and it kills Captain America. I'm sure he's dead. But it seems to have been a Terrigen mist bomb, which activates the Inhumans around the world. And that's how Kamala gets her powers. It's pretty cool in the comics because the king of the Inhumans does it on purpose and frames Thanos. It was pretty awesome.
So wait, in this universe, Thanos is still around?
Yes.
I don't know about the game. I'm saying in the comics. I would assume Thanos is around, but you'd be kind of silly to use him in your game.
Right.
Captain Marvel's in this universe. Well, we know that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you saw this, Zach, but I give props to them for the level of detail they're putting in this game. Did you get a close look at Thor in this trailer?
His Donald Blake name tag?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Scott, that was back from when he was banished to Earth. He was only Thor when he had the hammer.
Mm-hmm.
So without it, he was just kind of like a normal dude named Donald Blake.
Ah, okay.
That's a pretty deep cut, though.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what they did in the first movie, but I don't remember them ever referring to him as Donald Blake.
Actually, I believe they did because that's the name tag on the shirt that he's wearing in the movie.
Oh,
Natalie Portman's ex-boyfriend.
Yeah, something like that. Yes.
Oh, is that what they did? Okay. What about the multiplayer? Because I remember a comment that you made on Twitter, Zach, that you said the multiplayer looks like it feels a lot like Destiny. And then I went and watched the trailer, and those menus look almost identical to Destiny.
They are it's just Destiny's UI, right? I'm not crazy.
That's what it feels like. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like a Diablo Destiny kind of game. Sweet.
Hard to argue with that.
Yeah, I feel like this trailer kind of got me less excited for the game, but I'm just trying to hold on to that E3 footage we saw.
Right. What do you feel about the character models, though, now? Do you feel like they've fixed them up a little bit? Because they still were looking a little funky, even at E3, right?
They never really bothered me. I don't know.
No?
I think it's just because this is the first real time you're getting an Avengers game, and the movies are such a big deal in popular culture that I feel like people think the characters just look like the movie, but they don't. Yeah,
I know what you mean. Yeah, I guess you're not seeing Robert Downey Jr. and all that anymore.
Yeah, but I don't know why they would expect them to look that way, Like, so...
Could you imagine how expensive that would be?
I wouldn't. I feel like they already assembled the Avengers of voice acting, right? Like, I have to imagine the cast is already pretty pricey.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you think the combat looked a little weightless? Yes.
Well, I mean, he was floating. Thor was floating.
Hilarious. Thanks for your input, Scott. It looked a little like you were hitting the robots and they weren't really like reacting.
Yeah. I'll kind of agree with that because when I think of superheroes, like when they hit things, I want to actually see some wanton destruction. Right.
I mean, you think like he's Thor. You hit somebody with Mjolnir, they should take a whack. But it just looks like you're just pressing square long enough to get your special, and then you'll press your special button, and then you'll press the attack button again while your cooldown's active. It looks like a Diablo Borderlands kind of rhythm.
I could see that.
Which, I mean, I like that loop. I just didn't like the gameplay in Destiny for some reason. The bullet sponge mentality didn't work for me. But I like Diablo, so I'm hoping that this will be the one that gets me because I have an affinity for the Avengers from watching the movies. But I'm kind of with Zach though that watching it, I'm a little less excited. Like it just seems like it'll be fine.
Yeah, don't get it twisted. I'll be there day one.
Oh yeah,
it's just I've long held this fantasy of the ever living comic book video game because superheroes are just such a perfect fit for the live service model, like every month here's a little 30-minute story. Like that's what comics are. Like it would just be so smart.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm still fingers really crossed for this game. I would love to just play it for years to come. But their marketing team, they need a write-up.
It's been a weird rolling out process for sure.
Do you wonder if it's because they're trying not to show too much and hopefully leave some of the game to be surprised with?
Like they're banking on the excitement for it because it's the Avengers?
Yes.
Yes. I do think you're right, CB. And I feel like they're almost kind of like copying the Spider-Man marketing rollout, which is, was filled with a lot of like misinformation and little teases and, stuff that like, because it was freaking Spider-Man and it was Insomniac making it. And I get like, yes, the Avengers is a big brand, but they're not a proven commodity in video games the way Spider-Man has been,
Mm-hmm.
There are several Spider-Man games you can point to. Can't do that with the Avengers. And you are kind of fighting, the mentality and the culture that, the movie guys are the Avengers.
Mm-hmm.
Like you couldn't do the same. You can't do the same as serious rollout, and that's probably why there's not a lot of buzz for this game when you think there would be.
You definitely would think there would be.
And Crystal Dynamics has never made a game of this style either.
That's true. I know them mostly for the Tomb Raider reboots.
Yeah, but even in their hit, they've never made like a multiplayer game. And when they did, it was awful. In the first Tomb Raider reboot.
I didn't play it, so I couldn't speak to it, but
exactly.
I'll trust your judgment.
I mean, don't worry, I got max level for the trophy, but...
All right, well, let's go ahead and move on. CB, what story did you want to talk about?
Hey, man, props to Last of Us 2.
Yeah.
That's amazing, the fact that we're this late in a console generation and they're able to drop a game like this that outsells every previous exclusive game. That's mind-blowing to me.
Well, I mean, you do have the COVID factor, which I don't know for certain that's a factor, but a lot of people are still at home, so there could be a lot more sales that way. But I'm more shocked by this number because it's 4 million copies in the first 3 days. Now, granted, this was as of June 21st. 4 million copies. That's insane. But I'm shocked by that number because of how much crap I feel like this game is getting. Granted, there's a lot of positive talk for it, but I feel like there's just as much negative talk about it. And
I understand where you're going with that, but at the same time, I also believe that a lot of the people that are crapping on this game are people that have actually never played this game.
Right. I feel like the loudest people seem to be the people that were never going to play it anyway.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, there's a lot of people's personal politics that are being pushed upon this game. And rather than actually play it and enjoy the game for what it is, it's just, let's crap on it.
See, I felt like there was going to be a lot more talk about that than I've seen. I'm sure it's out there. I haven't seen it. Most of the negativity that I'm hearing is people that legitimately do not like this story. Like they feel like poor writing is a phrase I've seen more times this week than I ever would have imagined when describing it.
Are you seeing it from reliable sources?
Checkmark sources, if that means anything.
Okay. I mean, that does help a little bit. I just feel like I am seeing a lot of that within those people who have not played the game.
Right.
For every one of those that I see, it's somebody that is upset over the fact that a certain character dies in the beginning of this game. And they're like, oh, it's terrible writing. Why would you do this? And
I thought it was pretty cool. But listen to our spoiler cast for more information on why we think the writing in the game is quality.
And it feels like everyone just kind of like thinks that, the character Abby from the trailers is trans for no reason other than she has muscles.
Mm-hmm.
And that's become part of the narrative. It's just, I don't know, man. It's gross out there on the internet. So I'm freaking glad Last of Us just went ahead and sold gangbusters anyway. Because it's a tremendous game and these people are annoying as hell. Mm-hmm. And you know what? People still seem to think that, like, it doesn't matter who your main character is, right? It's cool that Ellie is a lesbian and it sold 4 million copies.
Yeah.
Or even that Horizon had like a female lead and sold a bunch of tens of millions of copies. Like, the quality of the game matters. And it speaks to that.
I'm almost wondering, though, how long this record is going to stand.
I mean, wouldn't it forever? Like, what other PS4 game could outsell it?
Well, but no, not PS4, but PlayStation exclusive game.
I mean, the only one that I could see selling a lot of copies is Cyberpunk, and that one is not going to be PS4 exclusive. I don't think Ghost of Tsushima will compete.
I'm blown away Uncharted 4 got beat, though.
Yeah?
But it took Naughty Dog to destroy Naughty Dog.
Which I'm okay with. Briefly, I want to talk about this Pokemon Unite for Switch and mobile, which personally, I don't have a lot of interest in MOBAs. I'm kind of scared to death of MOBAs. But I like that this exists, especially if there's cross-play functionality between the Switch and mobile. And it's free to start. I'm not going to say free to play, it's free to start. There's going to be microtransactions, but I don't know. It could be a good gateway for people into things like League of Legends and whatnot. Are either you interested?
They're pumping out Pokemon games right now, aren't they?
Yeah, the Pokemon Snap just got announced, who called that?
Pokemon Cafe mix on mobile.
Pokemon Smile, the brush your teeth.
Yes.
Teach your kids how to brush your teeth.
Pokemon Unite, man, they're cranking out. The Pokemon Switch expansion just came out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's Pokemon season, baby.
By the time this episode airs, we probably would have had like 2 or 3 more announcements Pokemon related that you knew before we did. So
I guess summer break. I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe they planned all their stuff for summer break.
Interesting nonetheless. All right, well, let's go ahead and move on. Just as a reminder, everybody, we are an independently funded podcast, which means that we do have to pay for our podcast hosting services, website, everything all on our own, which is why we have a Patreon page where we ask fans to help us out, keep the lights going, and contribute monthly to help offset those costs of production, as well as give back to the community. So if you'd like to help us out, you can do so at patreon.com/thegocast. We've got several different tiers. A $3 tier gives you 1 extra episode a month. A $5 tier gets you 2. And I think we've also got sprinkled in there some coupons for our Go Shop that will give you discounts on there too. So be sure to check that out. CB, what's coming up on the horizon and what can they listen to right now?
Well, we have our Break the Seal episode on Uncharted.
Mm-hmm. David Newman from the community sat down.
Yeah, I know Zach always loves talking about that. And then most recently, we recorded our spoiler cast on The Last of Us 2.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about that game.
Naughty Dog guy for the site all of a sudden.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about that at length.
I haven't listened to that yet. I'm actually looking forward to going and checking that out because I'm really curious to hear David's perspective because he's never played those games. He sat down and played all of them, which is pretty cool. So looking forward to that. And then we got another one upcoming. I forgot to write it down here.
Our adult games episode, which is going to be myself, Scott, and Christina. We played some old bad Atari games as well as a couple other ones mixed in.
Yeah, there's one that we played that wasn't even a game. It was literally just straight up adult videos. There was no gameplay at all. And it was, I can't wait for you to hear that episode, Zach, because some of the stuff that we saw, holy cow.
I'm looking forward to it. Did any of the games you played rhyme with Cape May?
No. We did not play that one. We were with Christina, and I felt guilty enough making her play a certain Atari 2600 game.
Oh, I can only imagine.
That was a little awkward.
Well, not to mention, when we finally do talk to her about this, just her reactions to how some of the things went down in one of the games.
Yes, it's going to be a fun conversation. And we haven't had Christina on in a long time, so it's going to be really good to talk to her about that. All right, well, let's go ahead and jump into the games we've actually been playing. Zach, take it away, sir.
All right, Hunting Simulator 2, finally. The cliffhanger from Hunting Simulator 1 gets resolved.
Hey, you don't knock it. Spencer's reviewing that for us. He has been clamoring for that game. I'm not joking. He has been asking me every other week, hey, when's Hunting Simulator 2 coming? We gonna get that game? He really wants to play it.
Hey man, open world hunting game. Coming PS4, Xbox One, June 30th. I'm excited for Spencer.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. I'm so excited.
I know
Yoko
you are.
Taro's Yoko frickin' Taro. New game coming out, iOS and Android, July 1st. Sinnoh Alice. It's about fairy tales coming to life. It's supposed to be bloody. It's supposed to be messed up. It's free to start, so you both better at least try it.
Oh, I'll be trying.
Or I'll lose it. And there's great, like every character has like a word attached to them. And one is like brutality, and one is bondage, one is murder. I cannot wait for this game. Woo! But anyway, yeah, I guess there's other games coming out this week. Inflection Extended Cut, a horror first-person game coming into Nintendo Switch July 2nd. Keen, One Girl Army, which you'll hear about shortly, also coming to Switch July 2nd. Clash Force, which is a game that made me think of CB immediately. It's supposed to be an 80s action cartoon come to life.
Yeah.
Coming to Xbox One and Switch July 3rd. And then Iron Man VR. You can 3D print yourself a set of armor, suit up, and pretend to be Iron Man for PSVR on July 3rd. What's catching your eye, guys?
You know, as much as I want to say Iron Man VR, I still haven't even played the demo. So, like, I feel like I couldn't play it for free. I couldn't be bothered to set up my PlayStation VR to try it out. But that's the one that stands out to me the most.
Yeah, it'll be Iron Man VR or Clash Force. I might try this game, Sinnoh Alice.
You gotta just try it. You know what, Scott? I know you're looking for a new daily grind video game.
No, yeah, I didn't even tell CB this. I did not. I told you, but I did not tell CB. Guess what I did this week, CB?
You finally deleted a stupid game off your phone?
I deleted Legend of Soulguard off of my phone after, what, over 2 years now? Or is it 3?
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy to me.
I just hit a point where I'm like, this is work. And I'm seeing that icon on my screen, and I just dread it. I put it off. I'm letting down my clan. So I just said, I've had enough. This is not fun anymore. I'm just doing it for the grind. I just straight up deleted it. Like completely, which means I lose all my progress, I assume.
No, it'll still be there.
Yeah.
Oh, really? But
they're happy to take your money back.
You should just re-download the game, Scott.
Give it a quick go. But Scott inspired me to finally delete DC Legends after probably playing it for 3 years. Because of the same thing of just, oh, you want to upgrade this time? It'll be 400 shards of this character. But you can get about 1 to 2 a day.
Yep.
Great, yeah. Oh, thanks, man. It was a grind, doing a chore, and you know what? You're right, Scott. My head feels clearer now.
Well, what cracks me up is like the microtransactions in there shouldn't even be called microtransactions. They should be called macrotransactions. Because some of them are like, here, buy $99 worth of stuff. I'm like, who is dropping $100 on a mobile game? I'm not knocking the developer because the game was fun. It certainly was fun.
Yeah, you got years of enjoyment out of it.
And I guess that's fair. If I did get that long of enjoyment out of it, maybe they do deserve my $100. But the thought of spending that much on a mobile game just boggles my mind.
Dude, I'll tell you right now, I know people that have spent that kind of money on Pokemon Go.
Yeah, I mean, there have been GDC talks about this where, like, 2% of the player base is what keeps it alive for everybody else because they'll spend hundreds of dollars on a mobile game.
Yeah. They got to be ahead of everybody else. Got to stay ahead of keep ahead of the Joneses. If you got the
income for it, whatever.
Yeah, whatever keeps those developers moving, I guess. Yeah.
All right. Scott.
Yes, sir.
You're playing sliding puzzle game Keen, One Girl Army?
Yeah. Do you remember seeing me play this at E3?
I remember you talking about it.
I can't remember if you were with me because it was in the indie area. And when I played it, the game had transpired, quite a bit because it's been sitting there all day and people have been trying to play it. So I missed all the tutorials and everything. I had no idea how the game worked. I thought it played really slick in terms of the controls, but I had no idea what was going on. And now that I actually got my hands on this game, I thoroughly enjoyed this game. You know, sliding puzzle games where, I don't know, like puzzle games. Remember those little puzzles that you had when you were a kid, where it was like a grid of squares and one of them was missing, and you had to like slide the pieces to make a puzzle picture appear. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Yes.
What I'm talking about. That's what it reminds me of. But Keen One Girl Army.
It made me think of every ice dungeon in the Zelda game.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Has a block puzzle over like a pool of ice, but the block won't stop until it hits something.
Right. That's a good way to put it. Imagine a room like that, because the room does feel kind of Zelda inspired in that it is you go from room to room to room. So you walk into a room and it's grid based. So your character is this little girl on roller skates with a katana blade, which is kind of awesome anyway. But the way that her movement takes place is if you move left, right, up, or down, she goes as far as she can before hitting a wall, and she can't stop. So if there's a wall in the way, she stops at that grid. And while you're doing that, all of the enemies on the screen get a move at the exact same time you do, and they get to move one square. So the idea is that you want to position yourself so that you land next to an enemy so that you can attack them. But if the move is done where they move next to you at the end of your slide, then they attack you instead. And then you get bonus hits if you slide through them. You actually do double damage if you do that. It's a little difficult to explain without visual, but it's weirdly satisfying. It's a lot of fun.
The concept is fun. Is there a story to it?
There is a story. The little girl is trying to protect her village. Her grandmother is teaching her in the ways of, or she's been training all her life for something. She didn't know what it was, and then her grandma sends her on this mission to uncover a hidden evil to save the village is the basic story, but there's some fun twists in it. The really satisfying part of it is that the game claims that it is possible to clear every single room without taking a hit. Like, you can have a perfect run. It's just a matter of figuring out the correct pattern to do it. Which
your tone of voice leads me to believe that you have not figured out how to do it.
Well, you don't have to. I mean, you take one mistake and you still keep moving on and beat the level, and then you move on, right? So there's no... That's more of like for a replay. If you want to go back and try to replay and get a perfect score on each one, because it's just fun that it's there and gives it some extra pizzazz or extra reason to go back and play it again, because the game's not super long. I finished it in under 6 hours, which, again, we talk about kind of liking these little bite-sized games, and
yeah, man,
for this type of game, I'm glad that it was that length.
Well, that's not you can't stretch that concept out to 30 hours.
Probably not. Well, these puzzles are really clever, though, man, because there's basically two different kinds. My personal favorite are just basically a linear structure where you enter a room, you clear all the enemies, you go to the next room, clear all those enemies, and then fight a boss at the end, which the bosses are really clever, by the way. There's just interesting ways that you do damage to the bosses. But then they throw in these... I mean, Zelda Dungeon is probably a good way to explain it. I think Zelda, or like a Metroidvania, but, from a top-down Zelda view, where you actually are retracing your steps to find a key to unlock this door. But the way that the maps are designed are very strategic and puzzly. Like, I can see that I have to get over there. I can't get there from this room, so I have to work my way around the map to come in from another side, and it's really good. I was very satisfied with this game, and enjoyed it a lot more than I expected after what I played at E3. At E3, I felt like it had potential, but because I didn't really understand what the game wanted me to do, because I didn't go through the tutorial, I was lost. But now that I got to start from the beginning, it's worth a play. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, man, sounds kind of cool.
Yeah, I actually played it on my Mac. But it is available, like you mentioned earlier, on Switch this week. So that's a great place for it.
And Xbox One as well.
Yes. I think that's coming a little later, though, isn't it? Or did you say Xbox One right away?
I think Xbox One and Switch, and then PS4's later. Oh, no, you're right. Just Switch, you're right.
Yep. It'll come to the other consoles a little bit later. So, but Zach, you also got to play, that is, again, Keen One Girl Army. Really had a lot of fun with that. I know that, Zach, you were a big fan of Star Wars Episode 1 Racer back in the day. I think it was on N64, if I'm not mistaken, right? And you got your hands on the remake of it on PS4. Does that game still hold up?
Hell yeah.
Really? I'm surprised.
Why? Why are you surprised?
I don't know. I have a weird. The N64 is a weird spot in my life where I have such good memories of them, but whenever I go back and look at them, outside of like the big hitters, like the Zeldas and the Marios and the Golden Eyes, they just graphically don't hold up. But I looked at the trailer and it looked a lot more polished than I was expecting. Number one,
it has very crisp corners.
Very crisp corners. That's a good way.
Because it's still blocky, but it's just
the polygons are heavy.
Yes, you can really see the polygons.
Now, when I think of Episode 1 Racer, I kind of think of the arcade game, like the actual cabinet where it's each stick is controlling both engines. Does this play like that, or do you have an actual gas and just steer it?
No, that sounds awesome though.
Ah, bummer.
What you're describing, but no,
because we didn't have two sticks on the N64, but you've got two sticks on the PlayStation 4, which would be awesome.
Nope. Press R2 to go.
Ah.
Yeah, press cross for turbo, etc.
So why do you like this game so much? Is it just nostalgia, or is it legit good game?
Yeah, I mean, look, there's definitely a heavy dose of nostalgia. This was definitely one of our, my brothers always want to play Mario Kart, but I always want to play Episode 1 Racer.
Mm-hmm.
And every now and again, I would convince them to let me play it, or we would get to play that. But it's hard to deny, Mario Kart's fun in groups. But dude, I mean, it's fun. It's it's a very competent little racer. A lot of tight turns that you really have to be smart about because you're going so fast.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like an F-Zero kind of speed.
Ooh.
So that's really fun. You go to like a bunch of weird, wacky planets, like a water planet, where you take like tunnels underwater and stuff. Just like a lot of cool environments. It's got the Star Wars vibe. Jake Lloyd reprises his role as Anakin Skywalker.
Does he say yippee?
No, but he does say, "It's working! It's working!"
Ah.
And then
I've always been curious about that, though, because the only time we ever saw the pod racers was on Tatooine in that scene in Episode 1. Is there a story as to why you're going to these different locations, or is it just to give it some extra flavor?
There's no story, so they don't explain how 9-year-old Anakin's zipping around across the galaxy or anything. But there is, like, every planet's got a little intro video where that ridiculous two-headed announcer guy from Episode 1 who speaks in, like, way too close to our world language.
Right.
If you remember him.
Yeah.
He like intros every world where he's like, yeah, there's a aquatic world and we're being hosted by our lovely princess. It's a bunch of absurd things like the mining colony, a lot of heavy equipment to dodge here. Like it's fun. Or like there's one on a prison planet that's kind of fun. But I mean, it's like a lot of cool environments, man. And yeah, it is. Look, I'm not gonna lie, there's definitely nostalgia, but it's kind of cool because you're racing around, at super fast speeds. Your engines can overheat and catch fire that you have to put out while you're racing. You can try to bash into other characters to do some damage. So Boba, of course, cheats, which is, I think, a nice touch.
Nice.
He's got little flame engines that can burn people next to him.
Is his voice in there? I always thought his voice was cool in the game for some reason.
He's got like a couple taunts, but he's not doing a lot of talking.
Yeah.
Watto gets a lot of lines of dialogue. Because in between every race, you go back to Watto's shop. And you can explore the junkyard and try to buy parts on the cheap. And your pit droids that you buy will fix them up, which is also kind of cool because you have a little garage where you have a pod, you can check out your pod racer and your parts and
the ones we got hit the nose.
Yeah,
hit the nose. Oh yes.
Yeah.
Who made it? They made an appearance in The Mandalorian. Yeah, man, it really takes you back, and I love it a lot. And you're gonna see in my written review, I'm not even gonna try to pretend to that this is for new people. Like, this is a $15 re-release of an N64 video game. I suspect if you want to play it, you've already played it.
Right.
And in which case, I highly recommend it. The only thing that bums me out is there's no online, which granted, there wasn't in the original release, and I'm sure that would take, more effort than they want to put into a port, but even, because it's got split screen, even a way to just do the split screen online would have gone a long way.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to, because I got people on my friends list who are playing it, and I'd be like, oh man, it'd be so fun to
I do
play
really
online.
I do feel that was a heavily missed opportunity with this game.
Have you been playing it, CB?
Oh yeah, I picked this up. So I really enjoyed this as well. I I actually went so far as to buy a physical copy of it.
Yeah, no, it's hitting limited run.
Yep, already has.
Okay,
so
that.
Yeah,
one day I'm going to rob your house, CB, of all your physical Star Wars games. Continue speaking, though.
Yeah, like I'm actually happy that some of these Nintendo 64 games are being brought back for a new generation, especially ones like this where it was a very competent racing game. But being able to play that on a new generation console with new generation controllers just makes me so happy inside to see some of these old games that are finally getting some new love.
Right, and this is like a game, I can't imagine the licensing nightmare. Right,
Yeah.
to get a racing game from the developer, I don't even know who developed, Lucasfilm.
Yep.
Like your LucasArts, they're not around anymore. EA's got publishing rights to Star Wars games. It's based on a specific movie as well. It's got, actors from the movies that probably need to get paid from I can't imagine the logistics of getting this game out on PS4 and Switch, but they did it, man, and that's awesome because, I love these games like you do. And Aspire Media, man, shout out. They're doing it. Like this Jedi Academy, the Jedi Outcast is on PS4, Star Wars Bounty Hunter, like they're putting out these Star Wars games that seem pretty lost to time because why would you go through that legal headache to license these games back out? And
oh yeah,
sure, I'm glad they did.
I agree with you completely on the nostalgia factor because this is actually one of my favorite arcade games that I ever played in my life. But it wasn't. Oh, yeah? There is a very rare variant where you actually sit in a pod. It's Anakin's pod, and it's on a pneumatic, so it actually like banks and turns.
Yeah, I saw one when I was in Portland. That's what made me think of it. I was like, man, even if you had it on a controller, it could do the sticks. Would be awesome, but yeah, the pneumatics were pretty sweet.
That would be kind of cool to do super tight turns. You boost the left engine and brake the right. That would be awesome. But no, you can't do that. There's a lot of cool tracks with some pretty dangerous jumps and stuff. I don't know. It's the cheat codes still work. I thought that was
the same.
They are. Our tangent abacus still works to unlock everything.
Nice.
And I remembered that code. That was fun. The only thing is, did you race as anybody other than Anakin? Why would you pick anybody else?
Yeah, I picked Sebulba a couple times.
I did, yeah, but he's the last one you unlock. Did you beat it?
No, I've just dabbled in it because I've been trying to catch up on some other things this week too. So
I guess when you asked what I did for my week earlier, Scott, it was I got the platinum trophy in episode 1 Racer.
Wow.
Dude, I'm telling you, man, I loved this game when I was a kid.
Is this on Xbox as well, or is this a PS4 exclusive?
PS4 and Switch only.
Switch. I don't know why they don't come to Xbox, but
licensing rights.
Yeah, I mean, y'all get KOTOR and Republic Commando on Xbox One, so that's something.
I don't get it either.
Yeah, but it's pick it up on Switch, guys. It's really fun.
All right, again, that is Star Wars Episode 1 Racer on PS4. And then lastly, you've also been playing the Innsmouth. Is it Innsmouth Case? Did I pronounce it incorrectly?
Yes. Yeah, you did. You did pronounce it correctly.
It's on iOS. I'm really not really sure what this game is. It looks like a murder mystery type situation. What is it?
Well, Howard Phillips Lovecraft wrote a little story called Shadow over Innsmouth and a sleepy fishing village. So it's based kind of on that. Yeah, as you know, I'm a Lovecraft guy.
Right.
It's funny. The game starts with a disclaimer about Lovecraft's rampant racism, which I thought was kind of funny.
Is it present in the game?
No, just kind of like, hey, we know Lovecraft kind of sucked as a dude, but he gave us good stories, so we're a multi-ethnic team. But I
didn't know that. I never would have known that.
Oh, that Lovecraft, really?
I know very little about Lovecraft.
Here's a quick Lovecraft story. History lesson for anybody listening. If you like my encyclopedia that I whip out. He got married briefly in England, but his wife divorced him at a time where wife did not divorce men because of the social shame.
Mm-hmm.
Because every time they would walk outside, he would just get fuming, angrily mad that blacks and whites intermingled so casually in England.
That's a problem.
And it's apparently all he would talk about when they were walking the streets and stuff. So she divorced him.
Wow, good for her.
Yeah. So anyway, he sucks in that regard. But boy, did he give good stories. The Innsmouth Case, visual novel on iOS. It's kind of like a comedy take on Lovecraft.
Okay, I'm interested.
Yes, which I cannot say I've seen very often. There's an old woman trying to seduce me when I got to Innsmouth, for instance. I tried to flirt with her a little bit, but couldn't make it happen, man. But it's still, like, it kind of walks an interesting line, you know, like, creepy architecture, and, I mean, it's just, like, drawn picture with dialogue on, like, the bottom of the screen kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just a visual novel. You're not even clicking anything in the environment. It's like an interactive choose-your-own-adventure story kind of thing.
Based just on dialogue trees.
Exactly. You know, it gives me chuckles, though, because I've never seen somebody try to make Lovecraft funny, because those two things don't sound like they should go together.
I agree. I was a little shocked when you said that, to be honest.
Yes, and I like all the people look goofy and fishy, which will make sense as a story if you've read Innsmouth. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I like it so far. I haven't finished a run through. You know, I feel like that's kind of the ending is a big part of a choose your own adventure story.
Mm-hmm. Sure,
but I'm definitely very intrigued. There is one thing that bugs me. You can't when I first played it, you could click through the dialogue, you know, if you read fast or whatever. But they did an update, man, and now you have to wait for the text to crawl.
Oh, why would you go the opposite way? Like,
it's weird, but because they have like text speeds of how it crawls, you know. But even at the max, I'm reading it almost as fast. Like, I'm reading it faster than the game. So I wish I could just click through. Oh, and one thing that bugs the hell out of me is because it's a mobile game, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the checkpoints are like few and far between. So when you close the app or whatever, you pick it up, you have to sit through like 4 or 5 pages of dialogue again.
Oh, that sucks.
Oh.
And when you can't click through it, that's a real bummer. I'm hoping that'll just get updated out again, though. But I am very intrigued, you know.
It sounds interesting. It just, you know, comedic Lovecraft alone kind of grabbed me.
Yeah, and I like, I also try to flirt with my hotel concierge, which is kind of funny, because he's like a half-fish dude. And he's like, yeah, you can stay at room 666. Do you need a wake-up call? And I was like, I had my character be like, if you're involved, wink, wink.
How'd that work out for you?
He didn't bite. He had no expression. It's almost like something serious going on in the town.
He's a fish. He didn't bite.
I should have been a writer for this comedy game. But no, it's a lot of fun. It's only like $5 too.
I'm intrigued.
If you like Lovecraft, it's a fun way to play in that world.
This would be my first Lovecraft experience.
That's a bad way to go.
Yeah, just dive into it.
I don't know if comedy version of a cosmic horror is the best way to enter.
I don't know. It'd be an interesting perspective that not many people could have.
You know what? You're absolutely right.
Yeah. Maybe I'll do that. And then just like go back to Call of Cthulhu or something.
Yeah, and you're like, the tone's all wrong here.
Yeah, right. Where are the jokes?
What's with all this horror? Yeah. Can I laugh? I'm looking Eldritch God in the face. This should be funny.
I'm actually still waiting for you to play a different Cthulhu game that's on Xbox. So both of you actually, because I know neither one of you have played it. But the Infectious Madness of Dr. Decker.
It's supposed to be easy achievement points, isn't it?
It is.
Is that a FMV game?
It is an FMV game. Okay,
yeah, I know this. There's an attractive lady in this game.
Yeah.
Well, you should have been sold a long time ago then.
I know. That's why I'm amazed he still hasn't played this.
Well, it's that. I need to play that, and I need to play The Sinking City as well.
So do I. I was actually looking at that again.
Isn't that the one that had the really cool booth set up at E3?
Yes, it did. Yeah, it had like a sunken city.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
I also remember, I could tell the story now that the game's out. Remember, I saw it at E3 2018 as well. And I remember they told me the release date, and then the PR guy chased me down. He's like, no, you can't know the release date yet. So I had to hold he's like, so sorry, can you please not say anything? And so I held on to the release date for about, a year and a half.
And he'll never know that you actually stuck to it. That's what's kind of crazy.
That's true.
Like, you did the right thing, and he'll never know.
That's the thing about doing the right thing.
Yeah. They only know if you jack it up.
Mess it up, yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Well, anyway, that is the Innsmouth Case on iOS. I assume it's on Android as well.
That seems like a safe bet. Yes, yes it is. Yeah.
All right. Before we move on, I got a couple pre-recorded interviews I want to share with you guys. First off, I sat down with Thomas, who has been playing a game for us called the Boreal Tales, so you'll hear from him. And also, I had a unique opportunity to talk to a developer. You guys have been hearing me talk about the game Outbuddies DX for quite a while. I sat down with the developer, sole developer of the game. His name is Julian, and we're going to play that interview for you right after Thomas's review. I hope you guys enjoy it. Thomas Bex, long time no see, buddy. How you been?
Well, I'm a bit tired. I had a long day.
Yeah? Still working from home?
Still working from home. Getting a bit fed up with working from home.
Yeah, I can imagine. Well, let's talk about the game you've been reviewing for us. It is called, it was called Boreal Tales. They've now renamed it to, is it Tenebrae?
Yeah, Boreal Tenebrae. And they had to rename it because it turned out that there was another developer that had the rights to that name. So they couldn't continue with Boreal Tales. And it was actually an educational game that they created with that name. So they recently, I think the start of this month, changed it from Boreal Tales to Boreal Tenebrae. And if you were wondering, Boreal means of the north or northern regions, and Tenebrae is a church service observed during the final part of Holy Week, commemorating the sufferings and death of Christ.
I did not know that.
No,
I grew up in a Christian family. So.
I did not know that either until I looked up the word in a dictionary, and I got that symbolism. So this is a bonkers game.
It looked kind of bonkers from the trailer. The animation is very interesting. The color, the characters have like this flat art style to them, and I don't mean that in a negative way. I really kind of appreciated it. But what's bonkers? What did you find bonkers in it?
Well, did it remind you of like PlayStation 1 game style?
A little bit, like the jagged edges around the characters. I saw very definitive, right angles or whatever.
Yeah. That's exactly what the developers went for in this game. It's very much a PlayStation 1 inspired retro style adventure game. It is playable by keyboard or by controller, which was very weird to me because I'm used to playing adventure games with a mouse. And the mouse is not an option in this game.
That's weird.
So
I've never heard of an adventure game that wouldn't let you play it with a mouse.
Yeah, that took me some getting used to. Or there is an option to activate a mouse that I was not aware of. I don't think there is, because everything that is explained with the keys or on the keyboard or the buttons on the controller.
All right.
And what the game did is it basically just dumped me in the middle of a town square and just said start playing. And occasionally something popped up in the form of a tutorial. It's just said, hey, if you want to do this, you can do this, and if you want to do this, you should do this. And I had to figure everything out for the rest. I had no backstory, I had no idea what was going on. There was this town with these weird graphics, and there's this monolith in the middle of the town. Like in 2001: A Space Odyssey, where they find this monolith, this pitch black monolith. In this case, the monolith is completely static. And there are several people around the monolith. Some are anthropomorphized animals who all live in this town. And I figured out that my sister Sarah is missing. And she has something to do with this static monolith. And the first thing you need to figure out is how to get the police officer who is guarding the monolith away from there so you can investigate the monolith and hopefully find some kind of clue about your sister. Now, what it works with fixed camera angles, which I found very disorienting in the beginning. I'm absolutely not used to that. In the way that like most point and click adventures obviously have like locations, but in this game you walk around and then you walk off screen and then the camera changes. So if you were going left, because the camera changed, it could look like you were going down all of a sudden.
So kind of like with the original Resident Evil, where it depended on where your character was, you had to reorient yourself and go in that direction. Like forward might actually be left.
Yes, probably like that. Yeah, I never played games like that. So that took me some getting used to. Again, this is all particularly chosen because of that PlayStation 1 retro style that they use, and it's very unique. Not just in because of those choices, but also because of the graphics. This game is just weird. It is bizarre. It's one of the weirdest games I've ever played, and you walk around, you can hardly get any background, so you have to just figure it out what you need to do, which is fine. But you also suddenly can change. It can be that you investigate something, and all of a sudden you are a different character. Like later in the game, I was looking into a TV, and I had the option to keep looking. So I did that, and all of a sudden I was in the TV playing a different character.
Wow.
It was really really weird. It was
like with no explanation, it just suddenly changed.
Yeah, all of a sudden I was a ghost in some kind of different landscape, and I could pick something up. But everything you pick up, every other character has that as well. So it's like some kind of shared thing. It's and as you said, nothing is explained. So you do have to figure everything out. But there is a story there. There is and the story is actually not bad. I mean, there is a town, and there is something going on in this town. This town is sick. This town is dying, and that is all connected somehow to the disappearance of your sister and certain memories that you recover. Because when you walk around, you find discs. You pick those discs up, and these discs then help you, like CDs or floppy disks. They look a bit different, and these help you to move to those locations. So once you go back to your own home, you have a TV video combination that you can use, and
right.
the more discs you find, the more places you can visit. So you can go to the old mill, but you can also, if you have been to that place, you can go to the old mill at night, and you can go to different. And slowly the story is unfolding, and you start to understand what you need to do in order to find your sister back. But you also play the sister at one point.
That's interesting. So you're playing the character that you're searching for.
Yeah, and you play all kinds of different things. This felt to me like I was in some kind of Lynchian nightmare. There are dreamscapes. There are arcade things as well. At one point, I was playing somebody I had never seen before, and I had to walk around with a baseball bat and first punch hit mailboxes, and then when it became night, I had to hit zombies. No idea where that came from.
That's so bizarre.
Yeah.
Now, you also had some technical issues with this game too, right?
Yeah, that's the thing that was not so nice, because there are still a lot of bugs in this game, and the developers do a good job in trying to locate them and fix them as soon as possible. But I ran into a game-breaking bug that, I could not continue. I had to get past that point, and I could not get past that point because the game kept freezing on me there. Now, eventually, they, like a couple of days later, they put out a patch, but I had to reinstall the game, so I lost my save games. So I had to restart. I could quickly get to that point again because I could now. I knew what I had to do, and then I could get past that point. But there were other places where the game crashed on me or froze, and at one point it got a bit frustrating. So I never made it to the end because I got a bit fed up. which is a shame because that takes away from the uniqueness of this game, because this truly is a very unique game. It is.
So technical difficulties aside, do you still recommend it, or is it worth taking the risk of those crashes?
I recommend it, but I would wait for a bit until the developers have had more time to fix some of the issues in the game.
Okay.
Because I do think that if you look at the trailer and you are intrigued by it, I do think, especially as an adventure gamer, even though this is not a traditional adventure, you would find a lot there. But they need to get the kinks out first.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Again, the game is Boreal Tenebrae. Boreal is Boreal. Tenebrae is Tenebrae. It comes from developer Snot Bubbles Production, which I love the name of that developer, by the way. And I got to say thanks to Super Indie Games for hooking you up with a copy to check this game out. Sounds interesting. Sorry you had a rough time with the technical part of it, man.
There could be a diamond in the rough here, if they manage to get rid of those annoying technical issues.
Sounds good. Well, Thomas, thanks for taking the time to play it and stop by to chat with me about it. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's always welcome. I have the next game already lined up, and I will give my first impression next week. And then when I finish that one, I can finally start on Last of Us 2.
Sounds good, man. I'll be looking forward to hearing your impressions on that one, too.
Will do.
All right, man. Well, you have a good one, all right?
You too, Scott. Bye-bye.
Bye. I'm here with Mr. Julian Laufer, all the way from Germany, who is the developer of Outbuddies DX, which I've been playing on Xbox the last couple weeks. You guys have heard me rave about it. I'm very excited to talk to Julian. Thanks so much for being here, man.
Thanks so much for having me, Scott. It's a real pleasure having the opportunity to speak about this game in the States. Yeah, get the word out there. Very happy.
Absolutely. And I really wanted to talk to you about this because after playing it, I didn't realize until I read into it that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you were the sole developer of this game. This is all you, right?
Yeah, it's not exactly just me, because you never make a game like that completely alone. I had help from my brother Toby. He did cover artworks, cutscenes. I have a musician on the game, and of course a whole community of really helpful other indies who helped me with code chunks and like how should I do this, and feedback and playtesting. So there's never like making such a thing alone, but generally like 90% probably, or 95% has been done by myself. That's true. Yeah.
That's fantastic, especially when you learn that this isn't like your main profession. Why don't you tell everybody what you do for your 9-to-5 job, or your everyday job?
Yeah.
Because it's amazing to me.
Yeah, my everyday job, I'm a hospital doctor. My profession is like I'm specialized in treating addictions of all sorts, drugs, like eating, even gaming disorder, which is quite funny if you're a game developer yourself.
you kind of want people to be addicted to your game a little bit, don't you?
Yeah. Actually, we can have a whole chat, an whole hour of chat about gaming disorders. It's really interesting. But games like Outbuddies don't get people addicted. It's like watching a movie. You play it for like 10 to 20 hours. And then most people put it away, they get through it, and they move on. And like these games that get people addicted are like those huge online games. You have infinite playtime and just meet every day, do your raids, do your battles, do your matches. And those games can be dangerous for some people, not for all, of course. Many play it.
Right.
Yeah.
I just find it so fascinating that you're a doctor, an actual medical doctor, way more educated than I will ever be, and you decided to make a video game. So what brought this up? What was the inspiration that you were dealing with patients and doing your day-to-day as a doctor, and you said, I'm going to make a video game. I want to know how that happened.
Just actually, I always wanted to make a video game. I never wanted to be a doctor. that's more around that. I mean, at one.
So I just love the idea that being a doctor was your fallback plan. Like, if I don't make video games, I'll just become a doctor.
Yeah, that's true. It was my fallback plan actually, because. Like in Germany, it's not that hard to become a doctor like it is in the States. We get university for free, for example. Everybody can study if the grades are good enough, or like if you say you want to be a doctor in Germany, most can do that actually. It's a cool job. I love this job. Can be exhausting at times, but in my heart I have always been a dude who just wanted to make games. Like I started making the first prototypes at the age of 12, around that, but I actually never finished anything. And then I went to my teenage years, and other things got more important than games, like drinking and hanging out with the guys and girls and stuff, stuff. That stuff. And then, you go to university, you have to make a living somehow. Started my medical career, and I was about 3 years in the job, and I felt pretty worn out and uninspired and numbed, and depressed. I really was like a depressed guy dealing with depressed patients, and it was weird. And I needed something creative in my life again, and I remembered, hey, cool, I used to love making games, and I started again, booted my old game engine, and the spark hit me. It was like I could not stop making stuff after that, and it was like was 2012. Yeah, 2012. I started making games again, and pretty weird. Yeah, cut back on my medical career and started making this indie game. Don't know actually why I made it.
So Outbuddies is your first game, correct?
Yeah, it's my first real, completely done, released game, which is kind of weird, considering it's a 20 hours long game.
I can attest to that. And so if you started in 2012 and it released on PC in 2019, this game took you 7 years to develop.
Yeah, for sure. I always had this hospital jobs. I have worked in different hospitals and states in Germany. Moved around with my wife. Meanwhile, I also have a little son. And
congrats.
Yeah, thank you. He's 3 already. He was born when the game got kickstarted. Actually, when I finished the Kickstarter for Outbuddies, that day he was born.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, so I had 2 babies. I had Samuel, my son, and I still had Outbuddies, which was kind of a weird experience. It took me 7 years to finish it actually.
So how did you feel once you finished it and you were able to release it to Steam? How satisfying was that for you?
Well, it was very terrifying actually, because after so many years of developing something, it's like it gets out of control. You have no idea anymore if this is good or not, or if people would like it or not. And I had very little playtesting. We had the Kickstarter in 2017, and some people playtested it. It was not like 15 guys actually, and I got some feedback, but it was really terrifying. And no idea how people would react, and the release was quite troublesome because the game had a lot of issues back then. So it's not just a pleasant experience. It was a bit weird, and and it was not successful in any way financially. So I had a little community but that's about it. Yeah.
Wow. So you went through all that work, and it wasn't a success money wise.
Yeah.
But that was before it released on console, correct? You've since teamed up with Head Up Games. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. We have a publisher now. Or I have a publisher. I always say we. Don't actually know what I mean with that. But yeah, we have a publishing contract, and the guys from Head Up, they're great guys. They do an awesome job. Helping me to port this because the ports are done by another team. I work with them, of course, to get the things sorted. I have to do a lot of things on my side too, but now that's not a one-man show anymore. There's a publisher involved, there's porting budget, there's porting teams, there's marketing team. It's a whole bunch of people now involved in this, and yeah, but we will see how it goes. It's like not a game that everybody likes. We see that on consoles too. I mean, we have some variants that are really good, and some players are really happy, but we also have players that like don't really get, I think, what the game is about and really dismiss it or say it's really bad. Yeah, bad game.
Well, I'll be direct with you here, Julian. I felt the same way when I first played it, because I love me some Metroidvania games, and I dove in, and I found myself frustrated at the beginning until I hit that moment where I realized what you wanted me to do as a player. And once that clicked, I could not put this down. And I hope anybody listening to this interview will please give Outbuddies DX a chance on console or PC, because it is worth your time if you like the Metroidvania style. I mean, it's got that classic feel to it, but I can tell that you put a lot of love and work into this thing, and it really does show. So I wish you all the best, man. My other question I have for you has to do with what I have to assume is an obvious inspiration to the original Metroid, because I felt a lot of Metroid in this game. Am I correct in assuming that?
Yeah, of course. It's actually what I wanted to do with this game is like recreate the experience I had with the Metroid series. I played this a lot with my brother when we were childs. I think being Super Metroid is my favorite of the series, and I remember
mine too.
Yeah, I remember sitting with my brother in front of the television, and usually he actually would play, because in those days Super Metroid scared the shit out of me. Mm-hmm. And so I would like look at the maps and like just be with him, support him that he can do this creepy game, and it totally fascinated me. And I think the thing that I mainly watched him play is like I perceived the world of this game from another perspective, from the perspective of an observer, of a designer. What's he doing? Why is he doing stuff? And I think I always found this kind of games totally fascinating. And I just like wanted to recreate a Metroid experience, a really authentic Metroid experience from my childhood memories. And I have not played Super Metroid the whole time I developed Outbuddies, for good reason. It just like I wanted to make a game that would like feel like a Metroid game, but with another tone, a little bit more friendly and a little bit more humorous, and not that serious, not like that. It has a little horror vibe. I think Outbuddies is a little bit Lovecraftian and horror-ish game, but it's also like not taken too. You should not take it too serious, I think.
Right, and I think one of the things that you were able to put your own twists in the game was Metroid is always known for its isolation. Samus was always by herself. There was no one to ever help her out or whatever. But in Outbuddies, you gave the character, and you're gonna have to remind me the name of the character.
It's Nikolai Bernstein.
Nikolai. So Nikolai is not 100% alone, because he's got this buddy with him that's this like robot that floats around, which was such a cool dynamic to me, because in Super Metroid I had to use the search scope, which you found like 2/3 of the way through the game to search everything.
I loved it. Yeah, cool thing.
It was awesome.
It
but
was awesome.
You've given us the ability to do that at any time, because you can send your buddy around to like scan every wall, which I did. I didn't tell you this when we spoke on Twitter, but I actually uncovered 100% of the map.
Oh, great! Cool.
Which was a cool feeling. I'll never beat the game in under with 7 deaths or whatever. I was cursing your name when I saw that. There's a guy that loves achievements and stuff. I was like, there's no way I'm ever going to do that. But I love the twist you did with that. And how did you come up with that idea?
Yeah, I don't know. I think at one time I wanted to have like some quality of life tool involved, because this random wall bumping thing is something I never really appreciated in the old Metroid games. Like not really being able to scan how things interact and how things work. And actually originally I had the idea of a game without any text, without any tutorials, without any dialogue, and I fiddled around with this concept of how to interact with the world without any text, without any explanation, just with like having this drone flying around, having symbols prompted, having little animations prompted. But it did not work out. People did not understand what I wanted to tell, and so I had, of course, implemented. I needed to do tutorials and stuff, and then came more storyline. But originally it was like meant as a communication and search tool, and then you have, as a designer, you have this feature creep thing in your head, which is like Outbuddies is suffering a bit from it, or the development cycle has suffered a bit from it, that I had implemented more and more features, and then Buddy could move stones and he could hack things, and it was like he's exploded in his number of abilities this thing has, and that came co-op as an option, which was a totally stupid idea in my opinion. So looking backwards, it was stupid to have a local co-op mode, because that was so much work, getting a local co-op mode in the game, and actually nobody plays this in co-op. But anyway, it's there, so if you want to grab your wife or girlfriend or buddy and want to go co-op, you can do it, but I think it's rarely used actually. Nobody plays it co-op.
Yeah, I didn't play it co-op myself. My wife doesn't play video games, so I don't have
Too bad.
Here that I could play.
Mine not too.
Yeah, you feel my pain a little bit there. So.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so the game is now available on Xbox One, like I mentioned. I saw it's also coming to Switch, or is it on Switch yet?
Yeah, it is on Switch and Xbox. The PlayStation port is in the making. It's almost done, I think, but Switch and Xbox are out, and I think so. So far, it's running great. We have no real crashes or bigger issues. There's a little update. I made a usability update, which will go online on Xbox. I think in the next 4 to 5 days, it should be online, and for the Switch too, which tries to like make this early game you mentioned more convenient, so you understand, you get quicker into the abilities, you get more input prompts and stuff, so you see what actually can be done with the objects, and the tutorials are really not that good in the early game, so I made this update. And I hope it will get more people in, because I think if the click comes and you understand what the game is about, like experimenting with setups and mix-ups and like this sandboxy thing, but you need to play like an hour to get it. I think it's
I hope people do. I know a couple people from our community have said they had planned on picking it up after the first time I talked about it, when I was really hard on it, but they were still really excited about it. So now that I'm talking about it much more positively, I'm really hoping people give it a shot. Again, the game is called Outbuddies DX. I played it on Xbox. Seriously, guys, give this game a shot. If you love the original Metroid or Super Metroid, it's that style of game with its own flavor, and it definitely is worth your time. And Julian, I wish you the best of luck now that it's ported to console and coming to PlayStation 4 in the future. And keep us posted on how you're doing. I hope it's a success for you.
Yeah, for sure. I will keep you posted, Scott. And thanks so much for letting me talk about the game and for having me. Yeah. Thank you so much.
And let us keep me posted on your next game too, because I know you got to do something else, man.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah. And one last thing, where can everybody follow you on like social media in your work?
Yeah, we have a website, Outbuddies.com. Probably most easily you can just call that one, and there's everything is linked there. Our Discord server, my Twitter account. There's a contact form. If you want to curse me for the game or something like that, you can do that. It's pretty easy. So just call Outbuddies.com and you get everything, get my contacts, can get in touch with me, and I'm always looking forward to have a chat with players and getting feedback. So just do it.
Awesome. Thank you so much again for being here, Julian. I hope to talk to you again in the future. You have a good one, all right?
I didn't get that.
I said thanks for stopping by. I hope to talk to you again in the future.
Yeah. Very, very, very likely. I hope so. I hope we'll be able to make another thing in the future for sure. Yeah.
I hope so as well. You have a good one, man.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Julian, again for stopping by. You guys, anything else you've been catching up on before we get to our topic?
Still playing Days Gone, man.
Still just as good?
Can't put it down.
See? Yes.
It's actually really good. But again, I'm still not really playing the story that much. I'm just having more fun. I actually finally started taking on some hordes.
Oh, wow. I almost waited till the end game to take on hordes.
Yeah, it's difficult, but I've got my madness down. I'll tell you specifically, I did not do any of the hordes until the story made me do it, and they don't make you do it until almost the end of the game, and it's a huge horde. Ooh.
I was ill-prepared. I had no idea what the hell I was doing. So I wish I would have done your tactic.
So you're playing this like the way Scott Clark plays Assassin's Creed games, just doing all the side stuff and clearing out the map?
Yeah. Which is actually working out really well, because going around and getting the injections to increase like your stamina and health. So I'm like just kiting these hordes around and just like having fun with it until you accidentally screw up and like stumble or get stuck on something because you're looking back at the horde and you're just like, and I'm dead.
That's part of what I love about that game, man. Mistakes are costly.
Yeah, they really are.
You should not, especially if you're going to do a horde, man. You do like 10 minutes of prep, and then it could still go wrong.
Yeah, I was. My wife was actually sitting next to me, and I started yelling at the TV because I screwed up. And she's like, "What is wrong with you?" And I'm like, "You don't realize how much time I just spent kiting this around and doing all this." And she's like, "It's just a game."
Yeah, and it's like it's your fault. It's not the game's fault. That's fun. Yeah, this is one of the rare games where I Scott Clarked it and try to do all the checklists.
You guys are really kind of selling me on that. If we didn't have other releases coming out that I need to play, I might jump into that. This is my summertime.
It's worth it.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, I mean it's fairly quiet out there until Ghost of Tsushima, ain't it?
Yeah, I know. I actually have a game that I really want to play. I told you about it, Zach. I got a review code for a game called Crosscode, and the code didn't work. So I'm debating whether or not I just want to buy it or wait to see if they respond and send me another one. But that's like a 30-hour game, 30 to 40-hour game, and it looks like a Scott Clark game like crazy. So I'm kind of holding out for that. But between that, I know Tsushima is the one you're talking about, but also Paper Mario comes out the same day. So the middle of July is going to be busy.
That's a busy day. You're a Nintendo correspondent, so I guess you got to play the Paper Mario.
Right. But I also got to play Ghost of Tsushima because that's another Scott Clark game. And somewhere in there, I'm going to be traveling to Colorado, so... But at least that one's on Switch, so I could take it with me.
There you go. Smart.
Anyway, let's go ahead. I got some quick housekeeping. We have a Facebook group. If you'd like to join the community, We got an awesome group over there at facebook.com/groups/the GoCast. We do have some new members, and I apologize in advance because I'm going to mispronounce both of these names, more than likely. The first is Dilbar Coyote, and the second is Steven Przybylski. I, again, probably butchered that, but I will do my best. Also, we have a thriving Discord community. Lots of really cool people over there just talking games pretty much all day, even some not game-related stuff. We've got a cooking section where we all like exchange recipes and talk about foods that we've been eating and taking pictures of recipes we've tried. Highly recommend it. The link for that is in the show notes. And a new member over there, Jaunty_B. And then lastly, well, not lastly, iTunes reviews. We don't have any new ones this week, but do us a favor. Drop us a review. Let us know what you think of the show. And it really helps us get the word out about what we do. And now, lastly, our website is thegamingoutsiders.com. You'll find links for all of our episodes there, as well as all of our written content, including reviews for The Last of Us Part 2, written by the one and only Zach Parkerson. You'll see my written review for Keen One Girl Army, where I think I did a better job explaining that game there than I did a few minutes ago. We got a review from Bob on Minecraft Dungeons, and Nate has his written review for Atomicrops, which that review made me want to play that game really hardcore. So be sure to check out the site and let us know what you think. With that, let's go ahead and jump into our From the Outside In topic. This week's topic is a this or that. What do we mean by that? We asked our community to choose 2 video games for us to choose between, and the 3 of us are going to kind of argue about which one is the better. And since there is 3 of us, there shouldn't be any ties, since we have an odd number. So we would have a clear winner for each of these. I thought this was kind of a fun idea. So just to kind of give you guys a taste before we jump into the ones from the listeners, let's start with the one I posted about on social media. I will ask you 2 first. What do you choose between? Do you prefer Mortal Kombat or you prefer Street Fighter?
I'll let you start, Zach.
Mortal Kombat without... I don't like fighting games, so... For me, I play Mortal Kombat for the story, which as I get older, I learn I'm weirdly invested in. So I gotta go with Mortal Kombat, and it's a lower. I feel like NetherRealm fans might get mad, but it's just a lower barrier of entry. It's the simpler fighting game of the 2.
Mortal Kombat is?
I think so. Uh-oh.
I felt opposite, but I'm thinking more about the earlier Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter games. To me, Street Fighter's moveset was much easier than the movesets in Mortal Kombat. Like the Mortal Kombat had a lot of like hold for 2 seconds and do this, where I felt like most of Street Fighters were, you know, like half circle punch or full or a quarter circle punch or something like that.
I think the hold for 2 seconds started coming after Mortal Kombat 3.
Yeah, I don't remember that MK2.
Yeah, 1, 2, and 3. It was just like up, down, forward, B.
Huh? I must be misremembering.
And it was rotoscope, so I don't know. It always kind of played janky.
Did you ever see those videos of when they recorded that? By the way.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of wild to see.
You met a couple of the actors.
That's true. Yeah, we did.
You did? That's cool.
Yeah.
That's weird. I know there's also footage of Jordan Mechner's brother running around being the Prince of Persia.
Yes, I've seen that one as well too. They like filmed it like it was outside in like a parking lot or something.
They like went to like the nearby park or whatever.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
Funny. Yeah.
Well, my vote is Street Fighter. I just liked it better. It felt crisper to me. CB, you were the deciding factor here.
Okay, I have. Oh no, go ahead. I
was saying, can we make impassioned speeches for a cause?
Well, we have a lot of them to go through here, so.
Well, I'm sure we'll hit 1 or 2 that we'll have to make a speech for it.
Most of these will be quick fire, though.
But I do have one question. Are we talking home console or arcade?
Oh, boy.
Oh, God. Now we're splitting hairs.
I mean, they're the same argument to me, really.
Because for home console, I will say Street Fighter. For arcade, I will say Mortal Kombat.
Why? What was different?
Because Mortal Kombat played so much better on an arcade machine, whereas I felt that the home console port for Street Fighter was an easier access But overall, I think I'm going to have to give it to Mortal Kombat. It was a lot more fun to me.
You can shoot a fireball in Street Fighter.
You could shoot a fireball in Mortal Kombat. Liu Kang.
Yeah, and you get a freaking spear that you stab into somebody's chest.
The spear was pretty cool. I will give it.
You get awesome guest characters like Spawn and the Terminator.
Oh, speaking of, did you guys see that video that was floating around Twitter this week? You know, like whenever you go to like those Japanese restaurants where they cook in front of you and they make like the fiery volcano. You know what I'm talking about? Out of onions. Yeah. Like that's like a thing. I saw one of those chefs that was doing something and he was, flipping around and everything. And I don't know what he did or how he did it. I couldn't figure it out from the video. You got to track it down to find it. He actually did like the Hadoken thing with his hands and he had to have shot something out of his wrist or whatever, like a gas or whatever. But he shot a fireball onto the food, onto the grill. And it was a straight up, he was very obviously doing the Hadoken hand gesture.
Oh, I thought it was a Naruto thing because he did little chi hand gestures beforehand.
Oh, you did see it?
Yeah, I saw the video you're talking about.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was some Naruto stuff.
Well, it's a device, you can buy it.
Wouldn't have known it from Naruto, but my mind went to Street Fighter because I'm familiar with that property, but it was a really cool video. So you've seen it, CB, you got to see it. It was actually really cool.
I've actually seen the device that they use.
Oh, have you?
Yeah.
You probably have one in your garage.
No, I don't.
What?
But I've actually debated on buying one at one point in time.
Of course you have. Next week he's going to have one in his possession, guys.
No, because they are way too much for what they are.
Oh, he's just going to 3D print one. It'll be fine.
Well, filament doesn't exactly hold up very well to fire.
Yeah. If it's just a quick burst, you'll be fine. All right, so that's the first one. Hopefully we don't spend that long on all of these because there's a bunch here.
Can I throw one out before we get to the community?
Sure, go for it.
Yes.
Peggle versus Plants vs. Zombies.
Oh, man, that's a really tough one.
No, that's not tough.
Oh,
it's so
bad. I will vote first. Peggle.
Interesting.
Oh, man, that's a really tough one.
Plants vs. Zombies for me.
So Scott's in the hot seat.
I am in the hot seat. I will say that I've played Peggle way more than Plants vs. Zombies, but to be fair, there was 2 Peggles. There was 2 Plants vs. Zombies as well, but the second one was good.
We don't have to. No, there's just the one.
I'm going to say Plants vs. Zombies. Yeah. Because
I don't want zombies on my lawn.
I feel really bad about that because Peggle is just such a satisfying game to play. Even if you lose, you just do it again.
I mean, it's in the Ode to Joy plays whenever you win. It's tremendous, but
it's great. That was a good matchup, Zach. I did not prepare any because we had so many, but I'm glad you did.
Well, you picked one, so I thought I would pick one.
Okay, CB, do you have one?
No, man. I figured that we had so many, didn't even bother.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's go on. Kyle Boggs actually gave us quite a few. The first one is Uncharted versus Tomb Raider. I will start this one. Oh, I assume we're talking Tomb Raider reboot, right? Not the old school Tomb Raider games. I would have to, since it's.
Well, yeah, it's just a big question. It's generalized, right? I do want to say, Kyle, screw you.
Yeah, this is a really tough one. But what's the final call here? Are we talking Uncharted versus new Tomb Raider reboots, I assume?
I mean, whatever Tomb Raider is in your heart, Scott.
I mean, I have played the newer ones more than the old ones. I didn't play the old ones a lot. Yeah. But still, I think I'm gonna go with Uncharted just because I like the storytelling better. I think the gameplay is probably more fun in Tomb Raider, but I just really enjoyed the storytelling in Uncharted and the set pieces. That's my vote. What about you guys?
Well, we'll put Zach in the hot seat this time because I'm gonna go Tomb Raider.
Oh, man. These are both like top 10 series for me, too. Brother. Man, it's tough because I just replayed all the Uncharted, you know?
Right.
But Lara Croft.
Yes, but Lara, yeah, no, I love Lara. Man.
Talk it out, man.
I know, okay. Talk it out. Man. I mean,
it is a podcast.
Nathan Drake's character arc over the first 3 games is extraordinary. And Lara, like, they kind of whiffed it there on Shadow. On
Right.
the story, big time. But Tomb Raider definitely does play better. But Uncharted, I'm gonna go Tomb Raider.
Tomb Raider wins
I'm
it.
gonna go.
All right.
Gonna go Tomb Raider because I also have an adoration for the PS1 and PS2 game.
That's probably enough to,
So,
to
yeah.
nudge you over the edge.
Yeah, no, it is. It's a closer call, especially having replayed.
All right.
Where
Next
I had
one-
to admit that Uncharted 4
Next
is not
one
the
is
worst game in the
Spyro
world.
versus Crash. I'm just going to go again because I've not played Spyro, so I'm going to say Crash.
Spyro. Easily Spyro. Crash is an awful franchise.
I'm gonna have to say Crash just because I've really never played Spyro.
So
That's the
really,
same
our
with me.
votes don't count. So Zach, technically yours does. Spyro wins it because neither of us have played Spyro. So
No, I mean, hey, no, that's not the game. Crash wins.
all right.
You know? But you're wrong. That offends me.
But you're
Spyro's got
wrong.
attitude, man.
Kyle also
Yeah,
said
but they kind of rewrote his character in the second game.
I guess. He was
Okay.
voiced by Elijah Wood. Gary Oldman played his mentor in 3 games. That was kind of cool.
Wow, I did not know that. Kyle also threw out there Resident Evil versus Silent Hill.
I feel like it's going to be a clean sweep for Resident Evil, right?
Resident Evil.
Yeah, I love Silent Hill, but I love the first one more than any other. And then the other ones I don't even play the Room one. Was it Silent Hill 4 The Room?
Yep.
Oh, that was really good.
I never played that one. So yeah, I think Resident Evil's clear.
A clean sweep, though. That's a first clean sweep.
It is the first clean one.
But I will make a case that Silent Hill had better movies.
Yeah.
They only
There's
had
a
one
Red-
Silent Hill movie, wasn't there?
There was 2.
There was 2. Kit Harington was in the sequel.
Oh, really? Now I want to go
Yeah.
back and rewatch it. I didn't even remember that.
But no, you're right. That first Silent Hill movie is really good.
Yeah,
I
it was.
I liked it a lot. They really did Pyramid Head justice in that movie.
Yeah,
Holy cow.
He was vicious.
Yeah. The next two from Kyle are the easiest ones so far. Hands down. Halo versus
so?
Gears.
Yeah, Gears.
Halo.
Gears.
See, not that easy. Halo does have some incredible lore. I will give it that. But Halo 5 was a bad
It was
video game.
It was a bit of a turd.
But
Yeah.
Gears is a game that got me into multiplayer.
No, Gears wins.
Yeah.
I love Gears. I read the comics and the books, and I'm all in on Gears.
Yeah.
I am one book behind, though. I'm sad about it. But dude, Gears is awesome.
It was a little closer on this one for me, but Halo wins out just because of the Chief.
All right.
Chief is awesome. There's no denying.
One more from Kyle. Elder Scrolls versus Fallout.
Yeah, Fallout.
Fallout.
Yeah.
I would quick caveat. Fallout 2 is the best one. Let's
Shut
put
up.
that out there.
Get out
Just
of
wanna
here.
Put that out there real quick. I want to play New Vegas again, though.
Love it. New Vegas.
Yeah, I'm gonna give that a go.
I remember New Vegas having a rougher start in terms of it was hard at the beginning. And maybe I just went the wrong direction, but I struggled
Yeah.
at the beginning of New Vegas. All right, next one comes from Josh Steima. He says Outlast versus Amnesia. 2 games I did not care for.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But you still gotta have a vote, Scott.
I mean, I didn't play enough of either to really give a full opinion on it, but if I had to pick one, I would say Outlast.
Outlast.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Outlast as well. A little bit. The story is a little tighter.
All right. Aaron Hughes the second. Final Fantasy versus Tales versus Chronicles. He broke the rules a little bit, gave us 3 of them, but we'll go ahead and let it slide.
What is Chronicles?
I don't know. I was hoping you knew.
Oh man,
All I can think of is Chronicles of Riddick, and I assume that's not it.
No, I
that would
think
be awesome.
Final Fantasy Chronicles is like the older ones.
No, Chronicles is it was a collection of the older 2 of the
Yeah.
older Final Fantasy games, but that's still Final Fantasy.
Well, I just googled Chronicles JRPG and Xenoblade came up, but the fact that none of us know what he's talking about is probably not a good sign.
So that means it's not going to win any of our votes.
Right, and also, I mean, Final Fantasy's going to win, right? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
again,
I hate-
to be full disclosure, I've never played a Tales game. I know it's sacrilege, but I have such an affinity for so many Final Fantasy games that it's going to get my vote anyway.
yeah. I've played 2 Tales games. They were pretty good, but Final Fantasy, man.
Yeah. The next one comes from Jeef Ayrson, and I was really confused with this one because these are 2 games that weird to compare. But Dead or Alive versus Final Fantasy. Dead or Alive is a fighting game, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe they're talking because Dead or Alive is all about some scantily clad ladies. So maybe it's the ladies of Dead or Alive versus the ladies of Final Fantasy.
Well, I mean, Quistis is in Final Fantasy, so it still gets my vote.
After the 7 remake, there's no way I'm not picking the ladies of Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
Yeah, Final Fantasy is going to have my vote, but Dead or Alive is a close one.
I don't like the Dead or Alive games. I really don't.
But if we're just talking from the ladies' standpoint.
Oh, well.
Right. I modified it.
I mean, if you had beach volleyball or whatever that one,
yes,
wasn't there one of those where
there's a few of them, man.
There's a weird.
There's
demand.
Even
for
a lady
games.
Spartan in Dead or Alive 4.
Yeah.
But I mean, even if it's not about the ladies, it's still Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
Yep. Same here. Last one from Facebook is Kevin Honigford, who says Sonic versus Mario before the merger. And by the way, Sonic wins. That was Kevin saying that.
Kevin, you're right. Sonic wins.
No,
all right, moving on.
Mario.
Moving on.
I prefer Mario games to Sonic games a lot. And this is coming from a guy that recently played Sonic for the first time. And those games do not flow nearly as well for me. But it's also nostalgia.
I think this is like the first one that I'm actually having a struggle with.
Yeah.
Just because I really like Sonic, but I also really like Mario. But
right, again, Sonic has attitude, so that's points. But I love the level design in Sonic, the 2D ones anyway, because he said before the merger, so I assume we're talking 2D.
Yeah,
like Sonic, like it has every level has like 16 pathways or whatever. Like that's crazy.
Yeah, I think also like the thing that's really winning me over for Sonic is the music and the color palette.
Oh, the music.
I mean, the music for the Genesis era Sonic games was so much better.
I mean, you want to talk about some clever level design. Look at Super Mario Bros. 3 and Super Mario World.
I'm not saying they're not clever, but that blast processing, man.
Yeah, I mean, and Tails is so cool. Tails is way cooler than Luigi.
No way. Knuckles.
Yeah, Knuckles is a badass.
Yeah, I'm going to have to give it to Sonic, man.
God.
Yes, Sonic officially better than Mario. Says the Gaming Outsider.
All right, we got some from Twitter as well. Bob Villarreal. Good old Bob. Dead Space versus Resident Evil.
Dead Space.
I'm going to say Dead Space as well.
Yeah.
Your vote doesn't matter, CB.
I know.
But still, let us know. I still want the honest truth from you.
I know.
Dead Space is just sci-fi. Sci-fi just makes anything better, being in space. But
it really does.
You're appealing to his alien sensibilities right now.
He really is. He really is.
I know what I'm doing.
But it's very close for me. Like I will say Dead Space, just because I liked the scare factor better. But nostalgia-wise, Resident Evil all the way.
Don't get me wrong; these are both tremendous.
Yeah, like it's very close, but
I will.
You know what? No. I will actually. I change it. It's Resident Evil simply because of Dead Space 3.
Look, Dead Space 3 is not a great game, and I am just now thinking Resident Evil 4 is in the Resident Evil camp,
and Resident Evil 6 exists also.
Right.
Understandable, but we don't talk about this game.
But I'm thinking I could put Dead Space 2 up against any Resident Evil, and I'm still going to pick Dead Space 2. This question could have been Dead Space 2 versus the Resident Evil franchise, and I probably still would have picked Dead Space 2.
I'm with Zach.
I think overall, I have to give it to Resident Evil because the larger library for me and the more enjoyable. Like, don't get me wrong, I love Dead Space a lot. Like, Dead Space and Dead Space 2, Dead Space 3 had me until about the midway point. Whereas Resident Evil 1 through 4, the 2's remake, 3's remake, 5, 7. Like I said, we don't talk about 6.
It's really bad, man.
I mean, I also don't like the stupid rail shooters that they did and the Revelations games.
Oh, I like those. I like those a lot.
Dead Space still gets it for me. Those games, I think that series came out at just like the perfect time in my life. I don't know why that clicked for me so well when it did, but it was awesome.
It's so good.
One more from Twitter. GamerDad03, Nathan Drake, Uncharted franchise, versus Joel and Ellie from the Last of Us franchise. He says, I'm sure that Naughty Dog would love that discussion.
Well, I'll start this one off and tee it off and say Joel and Ellie.
All right. I will rebuttal and say Nathan because as much as I like Joel and Ellie, they were not good people.
We've had this conversation that Nathan Drake is not a good person either.
He does just murder everybody. Like, there's no tomorrow.
Well, and he's also like lies with his wife, and
yeah, none of them are good people.
Obsessed with fortune. Yeah, he kind of sucks too. But yeah, I mean, Nathan Drake's gonna. Yeah, Nathan. I think Nathan Drake is one of the best characters in fiction.
He's more likable. Like, he's just as kind of relatable, and you kind of want to be him. I don't want to be Joel or Ellie.
Nolan North is just. I mean, he's an exceptional talent. If it's a fight, though, I think Nathan Drake gets brutally murdered.
Well, I mean, it is 2-1.
Even you could take either Joel or Ellie, and I still think Nathan Drake is getting murdered.
Yeah, Joel has so much more conviction.
Yeah, neither of those characters have any remorse or hesitation. Nathan Drake, at least, well, in cutscenes, has the occasional hesitation.
Fair enough. Moving on to Discord, we got quite a few here. W. Walt says Pokemon versus Digimon.
Pokemon.
Digimon.
Shut your mouth.
I've not played either, so I have to be the deciding factor.
Guess so, man. I mean, it's just two franchises. Who knows? Maybe he's talking about the animes. Digimon. Digimon the movie.
Anime, I will give you. Digimon was better.
Okay, I'll take that.
Gameplay wise, Pokemon was better.
Yes.
Well, I'm going to take both of your word for it then, and just say Pokemon because I've not played either.
If we're talking strictly video games, then Pokemon.
Exactly. Yes. We're talking video games. Let's see. Oh, we did. David Newman also said Fallout versus Elder Scrolls, so I got to give him a shout out because
we all Elder Scrolls for all three of us, obviously.
Yeah, and that's not to disparage Elder Scrolls. I am thoroughly enjoying playing Skyrim, although that's the only one I've played. I have not played Morrowind or Oblivion.
That's a game that needs a modern remake.
Yeah,
I was actually going to say let's play with David Newman's here and say Elder Scrolls 3 versus Fallout 3.
I mean,
bro.
Because I know how conflicted Zach is going to be on this.
No way, man. Dude, that's not cool. Oh, those are both really good games. I think, man, I feel like if you were to ask me, like, you could have either one remade and they actually like work to perfection, I'd probably pick Morrowind, man. I like that aesthetic, like the swampy kind of grungy dark magic thing.
Yeah, but Fallout 3, man.
Yeah, man, I couldn't even guess how many hours I put into Fallout 3. Man, I don't know. Like, I have such nostalgia for Morrowind as well. Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. I think you put a gun in my head, I would say Fallout 3, but it's closer. It's closer than I want it to.
Yeah, it really is. I can honestly say, of all the franchises out there, the third one was probably the best for both.
Yeah, that is unusual. That is unusual.
5 is pretty good, man.
I do not. Skyrim. There's just something about the setting of Morrowind.
Yeah, I haven't played it, so I can't speak to it.
It's much darker. But
all right.
Yeah, whatever. Sci-fi is always better.
That one really put a bee in his bonnet there.
Sure did.
I'm still not
Chris, who spells his name with a 1 instead of the I, says Halo 5 or Destiny 1.
This is a good matchup of two mediocre first-person shooters.
I don't understand. I liked Halo 5.
Well, there you go. You're picking Halo 5 then?
Yeah. I mean, I played it multiplayer, so that may have helped. I played it co-op, rather, with like 3 other people. That was a blast.
I would probably have to pick Halo 5 as well, just because Destiny became such a grind fest for me. Plus the awful Peter Dinklage voice acting.
They changed that, though, didn't they?
Oh, sorry. So you picked Halo 5 as well?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they changed it with Nolan North. First of all, I want to rescind my answer. Say I am going to go with Morrowind on the last question. Thinking about it more.
He's going to change it again before the end of the episode.
Yeah, almost certainly. But I would go Destiny 1 between those two. I think Halo 5. Halo 5 had a good ending, I think, with like this was like a sad shot on Master Chief thinking about Cortana or whatever. Like that was good, but that might have been Halo 4 though. Actually,
it was 4.
Anyway, Halo 5. Yeah, okay, never mind. So Halo 5 was just a complete waste of time. Except I like Cortana as a villain. That was cool, but Destiny set up a cool world, and it was just the structure of the game that did not do it for me.
All right.
Halo 5 is not good. So.
Jordan Derringer High says this one's mostly for Scott. Zelda versus Pinball FX. So I have to assume both of you guys are. I know it's mostly for me, but I assume you guys are both going to take Zelda.
Zelda, yeah. It's
a little tougher for me because I have put infinitely more hours into Pinball FX than I have all of these Zelda games combined. But I'm going to have to go Zelda.
I mean, that's your heart. That's your beating heart, man.
I just everything about that game series. I mean, even just the color scheme, the puzzles, it's just an adventure. That was the first game I played where I felt like I was on an adventure.
Well, so I don't think this one is really that hard for you because there's not a Pinball FX shrine in your house.
That's a good point. Now, where's my Legend of Zelda table on Pinball FX?
But he does find a way to talk about pinball every week on the show. Does not do that for Zelda.
That's a good point. That is a good point, actually. All right, CJ Moore. I'll go with Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time versus Assassin's Creed. Both are parkour-heavy slash-em-up games. Both have an aspect of telling the story after the fact. Should be an interesting debate to clarify the first Prince of Persia game versus the first AC game. Obviously, one franchise outlasted the other.
I'm going to slightly clarify this because if he means the first Prince of Persia game, that would be the Nintendo game.
Yeah, he specifies Sands of Time, but yeah, I know what you mean.
The first of the reboots, or the first of the
modern games.
Yeah.
The first one the general population cared about.
Is that the one that I remember playing that one on GameCube, I think?
Yeah, it was GameCube, Xbox, PS2, and PC, of course, but who cares?
I'm going to say Prince of Persia, because I don't think that the first Assassin's Creed game holds up very well. Now, if you said Assassin's Creed 2, that would be a different story.
I'm going to say Assassin's Creed.
All right.
We're going to put Zach in the hot seat again. Even though I'm pretty sure I know what his answer is going to be.
Me too.
It is. This is the one I was dreading the most, because both these games, fun fact, these are the two games that inspired my gamer tag of Ashrak Gaming.
Mm-hmm.
Because it is Persian for Assassin Rising. And these, and it's like at different points in my life, the Prince of Persia franchise or the Assassin's Creed franchise are like, the center of my world or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Sands of Time, I've played more times than any other video game, so it wins and it holds up to. I think the first Assassin's Creed holds up perfectly well, and I wish more of the Assassin's Creed were like it. But it's going back to the first Assassin's Creed is a bit of a sour taste because I dislike the modern Assassin's Creed so much that I just kind of get mad. I'm like, we're not doing this anymore, are we? We're certainly not advancing this plot.
How about an Assassin's Creed remake?
The first one?
Yeah, but with like the control scheme of the new ones.
How about the last time the modern day story was updated in a major way was 2012? How about we knock that along a little bit?
Well, so many people complained about the modern aspect of it.
I feel like we got to be getting to the point, though, where it's like the prequels, where now everybody loves them because the kids grew up with it.
Maybe.
I feel like the young people who played Assassin's Creed, they had to be old enough to want that story, right?
How cool would it be with the Viking one if they just like start out like they did the original Assassin's Creed, where you're not even playing as a Viking for the first half hour? Like I already want to play Valhalla, but if they did Norse mythology, Viking setting, and then also actually move the modern day along, I would buy that video game. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Sands of Time. Sands of Time wins.
All right, Sands of Time wins. Chantel, Marvel vs. Capcom versus Mortal Kombat.
Marvel vs. Capcom.
I'm going to say Mortal Kombat. I could not figure out the Marvel vs. Capcom games. There's just too much going on in those games.
I had way more fun with Marvel vs. Capcom, and Nate can attest to this fact.
I mean, is this the franchises against each other?
Sure.
Or is this just one? I mean, I don't know. I mean, the fanboy in me wants to see Marvel vs. Capcom, but I just am so bad at it that I think I have to say Mortal Kombat.
I mean, I'm bad at Mortal Kombat as well, but I'm less bad at Mortal Kombat than I am at Marvel vs. Capcom.
If you're talking about Marvel vs. Capcom 2, though, I'll probably have to pick that.
Ooh, okay.
Because I want the game. I want to take me for a ride.
The next,
yeah, so you know what? Yeah, Mortal Kombat, I guess.
Mortal Kombat wins. This one's easy for me. Call of Duty versus Battlefield.
Call of Duty.
Call of Duty.
I don't mean to knock Battlefield, but just Call of Duty always felt more what I wanted in those games, is that Michael Bay feeling, or blockbuster movie feeling when I'm playing a game.
Battlefield always seemed like a cool multiplayer, but I'm not a multiplayer guy. I'm a campaign guy, and Battlefield has never really had a great campaign.
I will second that. Battlefield has the better multiplayer for me.
I've not played either of the multiplayers, but you guys know that.
So the first Modern Warfare, probably. Everybody played that, didn't they?
The multiplayer or the story?
Of Call of Duty 4 multiplayer.
I've never
changed
touched
multiplayer gaming forever. You never played it?
No.
Oh wow. Okay.
No. I was scared to death of it. GamerDad03 somehow got another one sneaked in here, and he broke the rules as well. Mario Kart versus Sonic Racing versus Crash versus Diddy Kong. Let's make that a fatal 4-way. I mean,
the kart racer clash.
Yeah.
So episode 1 racer obviously takes the cake.
Episode racer. That's not a kart racer.
Kind of is.
Debatable.
It's a pod racer.
There are no power-ups, I guess. I would go Diddy Kong. Diddy Kong Racing. I love that game.
Mario Kart. Mario Kart's the best. I'm sorry. Diddy Kong did have airplanes, though.
Yes, it did. This could be our first tie, though. CB picks something
else. Because for me, it is definitely between Mario or Diddy.
Yeah, I mean, I know people love Crash Team Racing.
Yeah.
See, people that always say they prefer Diddy Kong Racing, and this is, it always felt to me like when people said Diddy Kong Racing is better, is because it wasn't the popular one. Like, it felt like the hipster answer when I was a kid. I'm like, have you played Mario Kart? Like, it just does everything you want it to do.
Well, I think you're both wrong. I think it should be Twisted Metal, but
that's not a kart racer.
Yeah, it's an arena kart. Come on, man.
You get power-ups in that game.
That's true. That is true.
God, I'm probably going to have to say Mario Kart.
Mario Kart moves on. Yes.
Look, that's good. It's just... my heart is with Diddy Kong Racing.
It's understandable.
You just go for the unpopular ones. Majora's Mask is better than Ocarina of Time.
I just picked Call of Duty.
That's true. It
doesn't get any more popular than Call of Duty.
That's true. All right, Carmel Bear, Final Fantasy VII versus Nier. I assume this one's mostly for Zach.
Yeah, look, the Final Fantasy VII remake is incredible, but Nier, my right forearm is dedicated to Nier, so Nier takes the cake.
Oh, Final Fantasy VII takes the cake for me.
Yeah, Final Fantasy VII.
This is horse. I don't believe this. I'm walking out of the show.
Sorry, man.
Though, even though I've never played Nier, I almost gave the vote to Nier just because of how much I hate the fact that they turned Final Fantasy VII into a episodic thing.
I am perfectly okay with that. I love that remake so much. All right, last section here comes from Nate, our producer, who says Doom versus Wolfenstein. Now, he's talking about the originals.
Doom.
Yeah.
Why did you skip his first one? Mario Kart versus Crash Nitro Kart.
Because we just talked about that one.
We just talked about it. Mario Kart.
That was a 4-way now. I picked Diddy Kong, which is not in the running, so now I'm going to pick Mario Kart.
Okay. So Mario Kart versus Crash Nitro Kart. Mario Kart. I mean, it was obvious Mario Kart was going to win if both Steve and I were going to vote for it, so it just seemed redundant to that point.
How dare you not give Nate his day in the sun?
And I feel like we did Resident Evil versus Silent Hill, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Resident Evil won that.
Resident Evil.
And the last one, Forza versus Gran Turismo.
Forza.
Yeah, I guess Forza.
I like Forza better, but I remember just being blown away more by Gran Turismo with like Gran Turismo 2. I just could not believe how good those graphics looked when I was a kid.
I will always say Forza simply for Forza 4 because it brought in the guys from Top Gear.
Okay. I will say Forza because Forza Horizon to me is way much more fun than either Forza or Gran Turismo.
But Forza Street on iOS.
No.
Forza Street. Which I also have not touched.
Look, I picked the popular one in every one of that matchup. Jerk.
That's true. All right, that was a lot of fun. Next week's topic, we are going to ask the community again for help. It will be community questions, so stay tuned for a post on that. But we'd love to hear a question in voicemail format. So if you'd like to reach out to us and possibly hear your voice on the air, our phone number is area code 347-746-2278. Or if you want a little bit easier way to remember that, it is 3477-GO-CAST. One more time, 3477-GO-CAST. Anyway, that is going to do it for this episode of The Gaming Outsider. Thank you, everybody, for checking us out. Zach, any parting words before we get out of here?
You know, I got nothing this week.
You got nothing? CB, how about you?
I was playing Episode 1 Racer all week.
Not even a comic recommendation?
Man, comics are slow right now.
I know. As for me, just be good humans, man.
I'm just going to second that. Be excellent to one another. And we got to watch that second movie, too, here pretty soon.
I know you do.
Little Bill and Ted, is that what's happening?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. I finally got him to sit down and watch Excellent Adventure.
For the first time.
I've never seen it.
It's pretty cheesy, but in a fun way.
It's got Keanu, the internet's favorite human being.
It's got George Carlin in it.
Shit, it does?
Yeah.
He's the one that helps him time travel. His name is Rufus.
I'm about to go watch.
Rufus!
I love George Carlin.
Me too.
It's pretty funny. It's pretty good. I remember there was a cartoon for it. There's a Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure cartoon show.
Yep.
It's a bizarre setup for sure, but actually the ending is actually kind of fun. With the way the whole thing wraps up at school was pretty fun.
Oh, you know what? I do got a recommendation. Star Wars Lost Stars. It's a YA book. Came out 2015.
Mm-hmm.
But I've almost done with it. But it's about a boy in the rebellion and a girl in the Empire falling in love. It is the first Star Wars thing I've ever read. It's got sex scenes, man.
Oh wow,
they're a little saucy too.
Oh, so
I'm not expecting that.
50 Shades of Empire.
It's kind of surprising, especially it came out in the Disney era too.
That is surprising.
So I did not expect that. However, it is also pretty great. It's pretty touching in spots. I mean, they just love each other, but separated by war.
I'm intrigued. Well, again, thank you so much, everybody, for listening. The Gaming Outsider is produced by Nate Lucas, and all the music you hear is written and performed by Grant Henry of Stemmage and Metroid Metal. If you'd like to check out his stuff, be sure to head to stemagemusic.com. That's STEMAGE music.com. Also, please be sure to email us if you have any questions or concerns. Our address is feedback@thegamingoutsider.com. Until next week, I'm Scott Clark with Zach Parkerson and Chris Behrensmeyer, and we are The Gaming Outsider. And remember, there's no such thing as a bad game, just games that aren't for you.